often take them for granted, a fleeting buzz in the garden, a jar of golden sweetness on our shelf. But the bee is not just a simple insect. It is the silent pillar upon which our modern civilization and global food security rest. Imagine a world without apples, almonds, coffee, or even cotton. This stark reality is closer than you think. Bees are the ultimate linchpin of our ecosystem, responsible for pollinating over 75% of the world's food crops. Their service is not just ecological. It is an economic powerhouse, valued globally between $235 and $577 billion annually. They are, quite literally, the world's most valuable unpaid laborers. Now, you might think other creatures, like birds and butterflies, can pick up the slack. While they do contribute to pollination, the honeybee is the most systematic and efficient. They work with a singular focus, transferring pollen from flower to flower, ensuring the continuation of our most vital dietary staples. If we lose the bee, we lose the foundation of 1/3 of our global diet. To truly appreciate this critical role, we must look inside their complex society, a world so alien, yet so perfectly organized. It puts our own to shame. A bee colony operates as a remarkable superorganism, a perfectly harmonized collective where individual ego does not exist. At the center of this world is the queen. She is the solitary fertile female whose life's work is production, laying up to 2,000 eggs every single day. That's her own body weight in eggs, every single day. Her power isn't enforced through command, but through a complex chemical language of pheromones. These chemical signals maintain colony cohesion and suppress rivalry among the workers, ensuring everyone is on the same page. The vast majority of the hive, tens of thousands of them, are the female worker bees. They are sterile and tireless, and their job description changes with their age. A perfect model of efficiency. As young adults, they are the hive's janitors and nurses, cleaning cells and feeding the developing larvae. As they mature, they become builders, producing wax and constructing the comb, or they become guards, protecting the hive entrance. In their final weeks, they venture out as foragers, the most dangerous job of all, gathering the nectar and pollen that sustains the entire colony. They live short, intense lives, sacrificing themselves entirely for the collective good. Then there are the drones, the males. Lacking a sting and incapable of work, their sole brief purpose is to mate with a new queen from another colony. It's a vital mission to ensure genetic diversity, but one that inevitably leads to their immediate demise upon success. If resources become scarce, or winter approaches, the colony makes a ruthless but necessary decision. The drones are expelled from the hive. In the world of the bee, there is no room for passengers. Everyone must contribute to the survival of the working population. The bee's genius extends beyond its social hierarchy into its very architecture. Take a look at the honeycomb. It's a marvel of engineering. The hexagonal cell. For centuries, mathematicians have confirmed that the six-sided structure is the mathematically perfect shape for storing the maximum amount of honey while utilizing the absolute minimum amount of construction material, which is beeswax. This efficiency is critical for survival. Furthermore, the hive maintains precise climate control. The colony is a living, breathing city with its own HVAC system. Worker bees act as a natural heater and air conditioner. If the brood gets too cold, they cluster together and shiver their flight muscles to generate heat. If it gets too hot, they fan their wings vigorously at the entrance, creating an evaporative cooling system that maintains the optimal temperature of 34 to 35 degrees Celsius. This is essential for the healthy development of the next generation. Communication within this bustling metropolis is equally stunning. When a forager discovers a rich source of nectar, she doesn't just keep it to herself. She returns to the dark interior of the hive and performs the famous waggle dance. This sophisticated maneuver, resembling a figure 8, transmits precise navigational data. The angle of the dance tells her sisters the direction of the food relative to the sun, and the duration of the waggle tells them the distance. It is a symbolic language, a map conveyed through movement, telling her colleagues exactly where to find the bounty. And the culmination of all this tireless effort: the creation of honey. When a bee collects nectar, it's stored in a specialized honey stomach. Here, the enzyme invertase begins a chemical transformation, breaking down complex sugars into simpler ones. Back in the hive, this nectar is passed from bee to bee, further enriching it with enzymes. But at this stage, the moisture content is too high, around 80%. So the workers fan the substance with their wings to evaporate the water, reducing it down to approximately 18%. Once it's at the perfect consistency, it's kept with a layer of wax. This low-moisture sugar substance becomes a natural preservative. Honey is literally eternal. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are thousands of years old and still perfectly edible. Its natural antibacterial properties prevent anything from growing in it. This is the bee's food store, their fuel to survive the winter, and a gift that humanity has cherished for millennia. Yet, this perfect system, this engine of our ecosystem, is under existential threat. We are witnessing a global catastrophe known as colony collapse disorder, or CCD. The leading culprits are intensive farming practices and, crucially, a class of pesticides known as These are systemic pesticides, meaning they are absorbed by the plant and become part of its tissues, including its nectar and pollen. For a bee, this is a poisoned chalice. These chemicals are neurotoxins that attack the bee's central nervous systems, causing acute disorder. The workers, the very heart of the colony, simply forget their way back home. They fly out to forage and never return, perishing alone, lost and confused. The statistics are horrifying. In some parts of China, the local bee population has been completely wiped out. Farmers are now forced to undertake the absurd, inefficient, and expensive task of manual pollination. Imagine teams of people climbing trees, dabbing each individual flower with a tiny brush, trying to do the work that a handful of bees once did for free. In industrialized nations across Europe and North America, the situation is dire. Beekeepers routinely report losing 40% or more of their colonies annually. Imagine if 40% of all cattle or chickens died every single year. It would be a global crisis. For beekeepers, and for our food system, it already is. The disappearance of the bee is not a distant academic problem. It is a clear and present warning sign. The bee is the Earth's environmental canary in the coal mine. Their collapse signifies a systemic failure in how humanity interacts with nature, a deep imbalance that threatens to unravel the delicate tapestry of our food web. Protecting the bee is not just an altruistic gesture for a cute, fuzzy insect. It is a critical investment in our own future. It's about guaranteeing the food on our plates, the stability of our ecosystems, and the biodiversity that all life on this planet depends upon. Their fate is our fate. If they die, we are in serious trouble. Thank you for watching! If you found this video important, please share it, and consider subscribing for more content that explores our amazing and fragile world.